Hey everybody, and welcome to the Harrison County Library System's online computer classes. My name's Jeff Conwell. I work up here at the Orange Grove Public Library. If you have any questions, please come up and visit, or you can drop me a line at g.conwell@harrison.lib.ms.us or librarydude1999@gmail.com. Okay, today we're in the fourth and final week of our office classes, and today's class is probably the most difficult for many people is Excel. Myself is a good example. I was always afraid of spreadsheets and stuff like that. My dad was an accountant, and I took the back of his ledgers and started drawing on them. But I took the library's universal class on Microsoft Excel. The universal class has an actual accredited teacher, and you go through a lot of different things. And let me tell you guys, it really got over my fear of using Excel, and I really do like it, and it's got a lot of uses, and you'll see why in just a minute. We're going to go over some overview of it, and then we'll do a couple exercises. But next time we're going to be going over in greater detail some formulas with some more complicated things to do with it. So anyway, let's get started. What is Microsoft Excel? It's a software program produced by Microsoft that allows users to organize, format, and calculate data with formulas using a spreadsheet system. And this is the environment for an Excel document. You've got going from left to right, top to bottom. You got your File tab. Remember, in your Quick Access Toolbar, the setup's very similar to the other forms of Office, Word, Publisher, and all that. But you've got your Quick Access Toolbar at the top. You've got your Title bar. You've got your Close button up here at the top. And then you've got your tabs going across. You've got your ribbon that's below that. Then you've got what's called the name box, because the worksheets are composed of what's called cells, and each cell is designated a column, letter, and a row number. So A1 is that first cell. A2 would be below that, A3, and so forth. But the one that when you click on it, it's going to have a border. That's what's called your active cell. So you got a list of rows, and you got a list of columns, and then you've got your scroll bars over the side here, and then you got your worksheets. Usually it comes with 3. You can add them, or you can even rename these. And then below that, you're going to have your view buttons, and then your zoom slider bar over there, which you're familiar with. So, and you got your keyboard shortcuts. Remember, Control and Z is really going to be your go-to thing again, but we're going to go through some live exercises with the Control button. So anyway, just remember, Control and O is open, Control and N is new, Control and S is save, Preview and Print is Control and P, to close a workbook is Control and W, F1 for help, but again, remember, the older versions of Office are no longer supported by Microsoft. So if you have Office 365, you'll be able to get it, and maybe 2016, I'm not really sure. But to calculate, run and spell check, you can do F7, calculate worksheets, F9. To create an absolute, normal, or mixed reference, you click F4. And your navigation. Now, the navigation can be a little bit tricky, but what you can do is use the arrow keys on your keyboard to go up and down to move between cells. Sometimes when you're clicking on something, you think you're typing in it, but you don't see the I-beam. So anyway, we'll go over some of this later. But if you want a tab, it goes to the right. If you hit Enter, it goes down one cell, and Shift and Enter will go up. And anyway, you're going to use those little navigation things, like I said. Your formatting, again, it's really easy. Control and B, it makes bold, italics, Control and I, and so on and so forth. There's your Control and Z again. So anyway, your Quick Access Toolbar, remember, you can add commands to your Quick Access Toolbar by just going on where it says More Commands. Oops. more commands, and then add something that you're going to be using a lot of in Excel. And then you're going to have your other tabs down below with, not other tabs, just your tabs. You got your file, home, insert, draw, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, and help. In your backstage view, when you click file, this is where you can see a preview version of what you're printing out, where you can open up a new document, a new Excel spreadsheet, or open one that you've already been working on. And then you've got your info, save, save as, print, share, export, etc., and then close. Your home tab, remember from Word, this is how it looks familiar. Cut, copy, paste is right here with your clipboard commands. Next to that, you've got your fonts, and they don't have, one of my favorite things is missing, they don't have the big A and small a to capitalize everything or make it a certain case. So anyway, that's kind of a bummer. But you got your alignment with your justification, and merge and center is going to be a command that you're going to use a lot, so that if you click on two cells and you hit merge and center, it's going to make, like if you want to put a title above these two, you can make these two cells one. Because when you click some text and you see it running off onto the next cell, when you click on that next cell, nothing's there. It's because all the text is actually in that first column. Okay? But then you got your number, citations, and all this other stuff here. You've got your formatting, where you can format the cells, format the table, insert data, and then you've got your editing commands right here. And then if you got an idea, you can put an idea down, and then they have the share and comment over there that stays on that. Okay, your insert file tab, your insert tab, you can put in pivot tables. We'll talk about that next time. It's just a regular table. You can put even illustrations in. You can put add-ins. And they got recommended charts for you to use. They can even put maps or a pivot chart again. Not a pivot table is different from a pivot chart. But anyway, a table, just to let you know, it's just going to be a series of data. But then you're going to have the graphic made from the table into a chart. So you take the pivot table, you can turn it into a pivot chart. You can even make a 3D map of stuff. And you can, Sparkline is going to be like a snippet of one of your, something on your chart, okay? And then you can do a timeline filter or a slicer, You can have a web link inserted into the worksheet. You can put comments in there, and then they'll give you how you want to do the text, and you can put different symbols in there. You got your draw tab where you can point stuff out, where you can put all kind of markings in it. And then you've got your page layout, like how do you want the spreadsheets? A lot of spreadsheets, you've got so much data that you're going to use. A lot of times you're going to use landscape. And remember, landscape is the orientation of a page with the long sides at the top and the short sides around the short sides on the vertical side. So, you can like a checkbook is whatever. So you can adjust your margins and all of that. It can get tricky when you do the views because you think the data is all going to be on one page and it's going to run off into the next page. A lot of times, if you change the orientation of landscape, it'll resolve that situation. And then you can adjust the scale to fit automatically, whatever. You can show it with the grid lines. You can see the grid lines. And then what it looks like when you print. You can bring stuff forward and backward. That's called layering and everything, and arranging everything. And then you got your formulas, which we'll go into much greater detail in our next class with the formulas. But just to let you know, formulas are how Excel does its calculations. And every formula with Excel starts with an equal sign. Okay? Again, every formula in Excel starts with an equal sign. And they give you a lot of your basic when you click the auto sum, it's going to add a column up. And then you got your, but you click that down drop arrow and you'll get some very common commands to use. But they got financial commands, ones that you recently used, text commands, date and time, look up, all these others. And then define names, like you can define the name of of a part of your worksheet, and all these other precedents that you want to use. It's not going to be a really detailed class that we're doing on Excel. I just want to show you the basics, okay? Again, if you're really anxious and you want to learn a lot more about Excel, please use our universal class subscription that you get with your library card. You just go online to harrison.lib.ms.us, go to eServices, and look up Universal Class. I might even do that in this class so you can see what I'm talking about, because it really does help. Okay? And then you've got, below that, you've got your calculations and all of the other stuff. Okay. Now this is the data where you can get your data from. Like you can get and transform the data from either text or from the web, from a different table and stuff like that. You can put in queries and connections. You can sort your data in alphabetic form, and you even put a filter in, advanced. You got data tools, text to columns, and all this forecast. And then you can group stuff together and ungroup it, like if you remember from Publisher and in our PowerPoint class, how you can move everything around once you group it together. That comes in handy. And then you got your review, where you can go through the spelling of everything, the workbook statistics, check accessibility. Then you can protect this stuff, so where if you want nobody to touch your stuff, you can click that protect the worksheet command, and they'll have to get your permission for you to send down one that's not protected to work on it. Because a lot of companies are going to be working on stuff like this together, so you want to be responsible for your stuff. You can always protect your worksheets so that nobody else can do anything to it. You got your view tab, and what you're looking at right now is called the normal view. You got your page break preview that's going to show that what it looks like, and you're going to have the slider bar down there at the bottom to look at the different formats. You've got your normal page layout and page break. That's the different kinds of view that you're going to get. And there's your zoom slider down below. And you can always change the zoom to 100% or just zoom to the selection. Again, help. You're going to need probably, and it's easy enough to find it on Google if you have an older version of Excel and you still want to get some help. You can drop me a line and we'll work on it together. I probably won't know the answer at the top of my head, but you can get the help. So don't feel afraid of this. I want you to just get yourself familiar and realize if I can learn Excel, you can learn Excel, okay? So anyway, let's look at an actual Excel document. I'm going to our computer here and I'm going to pull up a simple Excel document. Open and create one. Well, first of all, before we go and actually create anything with it, I just want to show you what I did. To create a new document, you click New on this is a backstage view, New, and a blank to create a new workbook. They give you all kind of templates, but this is going to be a blank document, so you just create. Let me show you a blank document. Let's do business. Sorry, this is one that's no longer supported by Microsoft, so it doesn't give you the templates. We might look at the one from Office 365 from my library library Office account to show you. but they've got all kind of templates on there. Okay, go back to new. Okay, create a new, template. Okay, and to save it, or let's open one. File, the Backstage view, and click Open. Now I just look at anything that says, notice here in the filter it says all Excel files. So I scroll down here and let's see PowerPoint terms. What is that? Okay, this is a table that I copied and pasted from the net on something. So I'm opening up a document that I have. Now, if I want to save it with a different name, I can say Save As, and I'm going to just say 2021. Notice it's got the .xlsx. That stands for Excel. You know that. By looking at that, it's an Excel program. So I'm going to just say 2021, and it's saved, and now it's saved with a different name. Okay? Let me go back to my blank document that I have. Okay? And to preview and print it, well, let's go back actually to this one. File, and then File tab, and then Print. And give it a second. You see how it's going to look when it's printed. Notice this says 12 pages. So anything that runs off, which is, this actually is going to be a wider than longer spreadsheet. So what it is, if I go back to home and see how all of this stuff, it's not going to fit on the page. If I do the view and I do page breaks, there you see how it's split up into different pages. Now I could reduce the size of this pretty easily and make it fit one page. But a lot of times when people try to work on this and they don't realize that their data is not all going to fit on one page, it can be very frustrating. So what you want to do is try to reduce the size or the formatting of how you got your information and see if that works. Now I might not, but let's see. If this is 18 size font, I could probably reduce everything by, let's do view, and I could hit, they don't have the select all, or do they? I don't think they have a select all. So if I do this column, and at the top of my page is where my column's listed. If I go to this column and I shrink the words down to, say, like 11, or 9 even. Let's do 9, and then I'm going to reduce the column's width. Now, you notice, okay, my cursor, of course, without doing anything, it looks like the arrow. Watch what happens when I click on the page and I go up to the top. I think I lost myself. Okay, you see how it goes to the, it looks like a single line or like a cross with two arrows on the horizontal part of it. So it's like a line with two arrows going left and right. That means when I get on the border between the columns, I can left click and drag my mouse down to shrink it, to reduce the size of it. Now look at my page break. My page break should show me where the pages are. If I do file and print, it's still too big. So let me go back to home and do the same thing for column B that I did for this one. I'm going to highlight that. Okay. And let's see if I can reduce the size of that. Okay, there's my arrow again with the left and right. I'm going to drag it over. Okay. And then if I hit format the cells, auto shift row height. So now I have everything spaced. You see how I did that? I'm going to hit Control and Z so I can undo it. If you look closely, and I'm going to zoom in right there, you see how the words are not all there? They don't fit? Well, if I hit the column B and I go to Format, that means I want to format the text that's in column B. And I want to make them all fit to that row. So I'm going to say auto fit column height. And now everything is spaced out accordingly. I could even drag it further over. Now you see that line? That's where my page ends. So I know I've got this much room to put it in there. And when I hit print on the Backstage view, that all should fit on one page. Pretty cool, huh? I went from 12 pages to 3 pages. So, and I could even improve that by going back to my margins. Let's go hit the home. Let me do view 100%. And I want to put, I'm going to go do margins on the page layout. And I'm going to make them narrow. And now it even gave me more room. So I could actually make the size font bigger, but without making it too complicated. Oh, it's still on 2 pages. I mean 3 pages. Okay. Well, never mind. Let me go back to Format Cells on the macro height. Look, it didn't do everything that I wanted to. Now, if I go to the to the rows, you see my little cross with the 2 arrows. If I left click and drag down, then I can make them individually. If it doesn't work out, just click and drag. And there you go. There's another one. So, okay. So now you have saved some space and some paper. Okay. Again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but you hit Control and Z to undo what you did, and we all know about that one, so I don't need to do it. You hit the redo button. Again, with your quick commands up here, you don't have to press the keys. You can just click the back button up here at the top. If I wanted to, say, insert a table, have that on my quick access toolbar, I click more commands, and I can put table or look for, these are commonly used Excel commands. I'm looking for table. There's table. I just hit add, and then I hit OK. So now you see my table command right up there on the quick access toolbar. Okay? Remember, if you have any questions, just drop me a line at g.conwell@harrison.lib.ms.us or librarydude1999@gmail.com. So I want to show you a couple other things. Let me do File and New again, or actually go down to the one I already have open. To select the cell, what I'm doing, if you see, now it's a thick cross, okay? So again, if it's the arrows and it's a thin cross, it means I can move one information from one cell to another. But when I'm highlighting the cell, it's that thick cross right there. If you notice, this is called the address box, and it's got A1. I come down here, it's A6. Go over there, it's D6, E4, F3, whatever you want. Okay? And then you've got the, if I hit to select the range of cells, I can hit the Control and Alt. So I'm pressing Control and Alt, and then I just drag. That's saying I've got those highlighted and those selected. Now if I hit this box right in the corner between the address of A1 and, A and 1, it's going to select the whole worksheet. So when I click on that blue indicates that everything's, if I wanted to copy everything that was on that worksheet, that's how I would do it. I could click that right there, select all. And the sheets down here, if you want to add a new sheet, you just hit these are like the file tabs for if you're used to on the internet with, like, say, Google Chrome. You've got the little files. These indicate, if I hit the little one next to it, it says down below when you hover your mouse, it says Insert Worksheet. So I hit that, it makes a new worksheet. And if I right-click on the worksheet, I can hit Rename. So I'm going to name these 4 months of the year. I'll name this September. And then I'll rename this October. And then I'll rename the right-clicking, rename. And notice I can move or copy them too. And then say I can insert stuff into that page without even opening it up. Okay. Ooh. Okay, this is November. And rename, and I'm going to call this December. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a table and show you one of my favorite things about Excel. I'm going to turn it into a graph. Okay. So let me name this column B. I'll put that as 1. Wait, sorry. No, not 1. A, and I'm hitting Tab to go to the next one. That goes automatically to the right. B, hit Tab, C, and then column A, I'm going to put 1, hit Enter, 2, hit Enter, 3, hit Enter. Oh, something. Okay, do this again. 1, okay, 2 is there, 3, 4. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert some names into column B. Okay. Again, you have to make sure you're spelling it right. So I'm going to, all right, and then this is Chuck, and this is Elise, and this is going to be, okay, and then in column C, I'm going to put in some numbers, hit Enter, 4, and then 7, and 8. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm going to make a table out of this information I just want the names and the numbers to be reflected. So I got remember this is my selecting that cell, it's cell B2, and I'm going to click on this little, where it turns on the corner to the cross, And I'm going to left click and drag. Oh, this is where it's tricky, y'all. Okay. What happens if I clicked and dragged over all that? It doesn't do anything. You want to have it on the big cross to get everything selected. If I did this and this is called a fill handle. So when it's the thin cross, so if I drag the name Laurie down, everybody's name gets changed to Laurie. So what that does, it fills whatever's information in there and will change it to the same thing. Now you want that option when you want to sum something together. You want to use a formula and it's going to total the column together. But with the names, of course, it's not going to work. So let me go back again. I undid what I just did by pressing Control and Z. I got my selection, and I'm going to drag it over the whole information that I want to make into a table. Okay? So I selected the data. I'm going to hit Insert, and then I'm going to put, I want a bar graph. This is, you got columns, you got lines, you got pies, you got bars. I'm going to use bars. So I like the, let's do all chart types so you can see. You got all kind of charts. Pie, column. I'm going to use your basic one right here. Okay? But I want to put in something for a title above it. So if you look on the formatting options, this right here indicates there's a little bar at the top, which I don't know if you can see it. But if I click on that, you're going to need to select the data type. Okay, now I got a place where I can put my title. So when I click on title, I can either click and drag to change out the words. I'm going to put books read this month. Books read this month. Okay? So I don't know why I don't want series 1. Or I could maybe change it out to the name, but I'm just going to take it out and watch what happens. Ooh. No. Okay. Again, this is where you go. Okay. Books read this month. Okay. Now, because the data is going to be kind of bland, I want to change the bars and this to be a graphic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the Insert. I've got the bars highlighted. If you can look closely, I've got the little handles indicated. I go to the bar and I click on it, making sure that the bars are all of them highlighted, not just one. I'm going to go to Insert, and I've got a picture of a book icon. You can find with Office, it does have a lot of graphics for you to use, but this is an older version, so I can't use it. I'm going to insert this picture into that, but that doesn't work. So what I'm doing is I'm going to say fill, and then I'm going to say picture fill. And then I'm going to say select the picture from a file. Now, the thing is, if I don't do this, with that, the books are going to be stretched out. Notice I only selected one of the bars. I need to make sure that they're all selected. So let me click off of that. Okay, now I got them all highlighted. And when I double click that, the data, it allows me to format the data. I'm going to say fill, picture, and I'm going by the file that I have, the little book icon. And then the thing is, I don't want it stretched out. I want it to fit for every unit to make a book. So I say scale 1 to 1. And now I got a bunch of books. So just to let you look at this closer up, I'm clicking on the table to drag it anywhere. You see how my mouse goes from where it wants to select just a cell by having that fit cross to when I go over the table, it's got 4 arrows indicated on the cross where I can move it anywhere I want to. And I want to because, let me go down to, remember this is the normal view. When I go to page view, where it was, without me moving it, it's on the next page. But I want the data to be below, the table to be below the data. So I'm going to move it over to the side underneath the data. This dotted line in here indicates where the page is. So I need it to come over here and underneath. And then I'm going to put print, so you can see what it looks like. I may just have that thing highlighted, and that's why it just wants to print out the table. But let me go back. And I'm going to print again. I had just that table highlighted, so it was just going to print the table. And that's why when you went File and Print, you see it's just a table. It's going to just print out what's highlighted. So if I go back and hit Home and take it off the highlighting from the data, just click on any cell and I hit Print, you're going to see just the data and the table up here both. Okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to copy this data for some other months. So this is the month that right now I have it on as December. I'm going to actually put this, I'm going to move this to before, because it's actually September. So I'm going to move that data here. I'm going to change this, I'm going to rename it to September. And I'll put, and now I'm going to, rename a sheet the same name as another sheet. Okay, it's not going to work because I need to put this. I'm going to leave this as December for right now. Okay, so I'm going to put, let's go, actually for right now I'm going to rename it January. Okay. So all I'm going to do for like the next month is I'm going to copy all this data by selecting and copying the data. I just left click, drag my mouse down over the whole data, copy. Now I'm coming to September. And I'm going to hit paste. There's my data. I'm going to change this out to new data. I'm going to say 5. I'm going to leave that the same and say 9 and 14. Now, I changed the data. It's linked to this chart. So when I hit enter, we should see some more books produced. Okay? So maybe it didn't do it. Maybe it did. Let's do, it's still linked to that other one. I'm going to put this data is going to be reflected by, I just clicked the bars to indicate what data is going to be changed, and I put that in, it's still done. Okay? Okay. How do we do this? Okay, let me make another chart. I'm going to just say insert. So now I got it done again. And I'm going to put the format the same, just to go over it. The only way you know how to do stuff is by repetition, repetition, repetition. And then I'm going to say, click that, format, format selection, fill, picture, file, books, insert, close. Oh, I forgot to put down the fact that I want them to be one-to-one. Okay? So now I've got that. I got this new data set with that one. I'm going to delete this table and just move it underneath it. Okay? So now I've got all of that done with that. And if I want to, let's see, I'm going to delete one of the months. This is going to be let's see. If that's going to be December, let me go ahead and take okay. I know this is December, or that's supposed to be, let's rename this. If that's going to be, I want to just name it another month. That is supposed to be I'm just playing around with this. August. I'll rename that to be September. And now I'm going to name this to be delete. And this one is going to be so now I've got September and August. So anyway, now it's still remembering that I've got that highlighted, so to click off of it, I just do that. So anyway, this is how you would make a pie chart. It's just you click on the data, and then you say insert, and then you say whatever. If I wanted to make a pie, I can do that. And so this is a pie. And I can take a little line and put it in and say books read this month like that. But I like the book icons in there. You can insert all sort of stuff. Anyway, next time we're going to go over the formulas, and I want to congratulate you on trying to want to learn Excel, because it is and can be a difficult thing to know, but hopefully you learned something about this and a little bit about the navigation of it, and stay tuned to next time. Remember, drop me a line. My name is Jeff Conwell. You can drop me a line at g.conwell@harrison.lib.ms.us or librarydude1999@gmail.com. Hey, and don't forget, always save your work. File, save as. Now I'm just going to call this Books Read This Month. And that's how you do that.